Hello, welcome everyone on this International Women's Day. I wanted to celebrate the voices of women, and I've invited some wonderful women friends of mine, Maddy Harland, Liz Zorab and Glennie Kindred, to join me to send some appreciation and celebration of the women's voices and the women in permaculture voices as well. So Maddy, my beloved friend, collaborator and publisher, would you like to share with us some of why it's been important for you to be sharing women's voices and lifting our voices up?
Yeah, like you, I have such appreciation for the women that are authors at Permanent Publications. This is 3 of you wonderful women. My latest published author, Liz Zorab, who's just written Grounded, and Glennie, who I've been working with for some years, and of course Looby, been working with since 2012. So, but great appreciation also to Anna Locke, who's just about to be published, and Ro Morrow and Steph Hafferty and Anne Stobart and Jasmine Dale and Caroline Nuttall and Janet Milligan over in Australia, and also Ricky Nitskin, who we published her complete guide to straw bale building. So we have fantastic diversity. When I first started life as a permaculture publisher, all the authors were men, and the great majority of the people writing articles for Permaculture Magazine in the early 90s were men. And at that time, there were no women permaculture design teachers in the UK. So we had to ask Lee Harrison to come over and teach us permaculture design in 1992. So it's just wonderful to see how the movement has developed and how women's voices are much more out there and vocal, and how women are teaching and mentoring and leading and taking their rightful place in the world. And as we know, all forms of diversity are incredibly important, as much as sexual equality between men and women. We also want to see far more gender diversity and openness, and of course we want to be far more inclusive in terms of people of colour in the permaculture movement. So I see the inclusion of women and their empowerment as the first step in something that we have a long, long way to go. So on that note of good cheer, and also just recognising that this is the beginning of a process, I'd like to hand over to Liz. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'd like to start just by sharing a little bit of gratitude. I'm feeling particularly grateful today to the women who have come before us, who have paved the way. A lot of them you've just mentioned, Maddy, in terms of writing and teaching permaculture, but there are a whole raft of women that I've worked with over the last 30 years or so, in particular working in women's refuges and women's safe houses. Without their care and support and dynamic forward thinking, I think my life would be much poorer without them and without their input. But rather than just women that I know, I then want to extend that further to, through history, right across the world, women who, I'm really grateful to women who have just made their voices heard.
Thank you. So over to you, Glennie.
Oh, hello. Well, yeah, that's what I'd like to really maybe do is a little something that women all over the world have always done, and that's kind of a little celebratory ceremony in celebration of women, and in giving thanks for women. You know, our gratitude to as Liz has just said, all the women who've gone before and, kept the light burning and have stood up and spoke out and not given up. And I think we're very, very good at that. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep on going. And so I just went for a little walk, and I thought actually it would be really nice just to do a little something together. And I spoke to the others, and they said they'd come along with me. So it's around the energy of each of the elements, because each of the elements gives us life. Each of the elements has power to change us, and each of the elements is in us in different forms, whether it's physically or metaphysically. So we're just going to start with just taking a moment just to just let go of the busyness of the day, and just take some breaths and just be here in this moment, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Just take a moment to stop and just be in your body and give thanks for who you are as a woman. And hopefully that's helped you to anchor a little bit, and so anchor a little bit more by feeling that your roots from your feet are going down into the earth and anchoring you as part of the earth, holding you, nourishing you. Just letting the out breath be the most important breath. So we give thanks to the earth, our Mother Earth, and the energy of earth, which is held in women, the wisdom women hold, the earth energy wisdom that women have held throughout time, the wisdom of the herbs, the wisdom of the land, the wisdom of the trees, the song lines, held by women. And we give thanks for the earth protectors, those amazing women that put their bodies on the line. Does anybody else want to say anything from the point of view of earth?
I'd just like to express my gratitude. In permaculture, we talk a lot about us caring for the earth, but I'd like to express my gratitude for the earth, for the way in which it cares for us and enables our lives. So, just deep gratitude for Mother Earth.
Yeah.
And I'd like to share my gratitude for all the generations and generations of herbalists and gardeners who have connected with the energies of the plants and given us all this valuable knowledge that we can carry forth with us.
And air, our breath, we give thanks for our breath. Each day, every breath we take, every breath an opportunity to use our voices to stand up for what needs to be stood up for, to speak up, to speak out. It's what women are good at. And I give thanks for all the songs that women sing, the songs they sing together, the chanting and the tribal songs that hold people together, and all those songs that have kind of influenced my life and helped me be up, you know, when you're down. So I give thanks for all those women singers.
And I give thanks for all the laughter that I've shared with women over the years, and the imagining us by a campfire and laughing and sharing jokes and sharing stories. Give thanks.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to express my gratitude for all the thought leadership that women have brought into the world, for the element of air that is that sort of consciousness and vision, the way it encapsulates that. So, you know, just in gratitude to the swimming against the tide, I suppose, and the daring to think differently.
Communication.
Yes.
It's about communication, isn't
yes.
it? That actually there's no limit to it. We're talking here now, but our energy carries on, and there's no telling where your words will get to. And I guess as women writers, that's a kind of like power in our hearts, isn't it? That we hope that our words spread out far and wide, and help to change and influence. So thank you for that.
And to nourish and empower people with our words as well, to really feed people and help resonate with their inner truths and their inner gifts.
Yeah. And then the element of fire. What do we fire up in our lives as women? What do we fire up?
Well,
come on.
We keep our hearth warm, don't we? and welcoming, and we put the pot on top of it and create sustenance. And you know, we are attuned when we are attuned to these elements, and when we bring them into our daily lives, that's where the real transformation takes place. That's when we stop being alienated and so cut off and separate, and we feel ourselves. We feel the fire of our networks and our you know, friendships and our connections with other people and other women. And as Looby said earlier, we sit round a fire and we share food and song, and I don't want to say the word fellowship, because so many of the words in our language are couched unconsciously in patriarchal language. And so it's hard to, you know, we say sisterhood because it's actually hard to find a neutral word that includes this sense of belonging and connection between human beings. But that's what fire means to me, is that connection and inspiration and the power of new beginnings and enlightenment when you see with more clarity.
And for me, I'm thinking of fire as the passion that guides us, and the passion that makes us dance wildly and makes us enthuse about our passions of gardening or music or books, poetry, whatever it is that really lights our inner fire, that makes us want to give and to share that.
Yeah.
And one step on from that, Looby, is then that passion then fires our imaginations to think about not just what is possible, but almost what is impossible as well, and find ways forward.
Yeah. And just our power to transform and change what happens next. and women's boldness to create change, and boldness to begin change and begin transformation. I was just thinking, I just sort of had this image of how it is when we get together, when women get together, and we're talking 10 to the dozen, and ideas are flying around, and we're all kind of influencing people and each other and firing each other up. I think women are fantastic. You know, fuel really for the fire of change. Yeah. And the next element on the wheel is water, and that watery connection to our depths, and our love, and our deep intuition, and our ability to go deep within and not be afraid of that deepness, not be afraid of our feelings and our heart, and to share that, because that's the other thing women do, is they share their feelings, they share their hearts, and it's so good for us. I think that's why we're so rounded as us people.
Yeah, and I want to celebrate that as well. I want to celebrate how women do talk to each other and have that capacity to be trusting and intimate.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to share, and I know this is Women's Day, but I want to also celebrate the feminine in men, the feminine principle in men, that you know, people often say when men cry they're in touch with their feminine nature, and great, let's have more men that cry. Let's all express ourselves more fully and not suppress it, because we know that that is part of a strong immune system. It's not about necessarily taking medications, it's about living more fully and being more expressive and emotionally healthy. So I want to celebrate emotional well-being as being the ability to express our feelings in a compassionate but genuine and authentic way, and also to send my support and compassion to women who cannot speak out or speak their feelings for a variety of reasons, like domestic abuse, or just the society that they live in is so repressive and so far away from where we are. I mean, just remembering my grandmother wasn't allowed to vote, and look at my generation and beyond now. So that's hugely inspiring, but we've still got some way to go. So I'll stop there and hand over to Looby.
Yeah, I'd like to celebrate the water and for the tears that we can shed and release, and for the flow that women have, the ability to change with moving context and adapt, and that's ever been more present in the last year, of how we've adapted and changed and flowed with what's happening.
Yeah. And the water protectors. I'd like to celebrate the water protectors. So important work. And finally, a connection to spirit in all of us. Just that spark of life and love within us, and that connection to the unity of life, and healing the separation, healing the things that divide us, and bringing that sense of interconnection, connection, and unity for all life. Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, I'd like to celebrate the spirit that connects and that brings us together from our hearts, and our souls and our spirit inside us, and that is deeper and more, is beyond this lifetime. The life of our bodies that is connected with our ancestors and connected with our future generations.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody, and thank you for all those who joined in their hearts with us and went along with us and perhaps cheered a few times and yeah, hearts open.
Yeah, and if you'd like to leave any comments about how the elements relate to your experience of being a woman or connecting with other women, or connecting, if you're a man, connecting with your feminine aspects, please do share them with us. It's really, thank you so much, Glennie. That was really lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely way to connect with women. Yeah.
Thank you, all three of you, for making time in your day and being here in your different guises. And
4 of us, darling, all 4.
Well, there's me too, yeah, but I'm thanking you. And just the wonderful diversity of what you do, you know, in terms of your writing, all beautiful, wonderful, empowering writing in different ways. So yeah, please check out these women's work, and you could check mine out as well. I'll put some links when I post this to YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah,